All right, let's dive deep into this, going over each element in detail. So yeah, we're talking about something pretty significant here, a mix of communication, politics, and protocol. This recent event involving President Joe Biden has stirred up quite a buzz, both in the media and politically. Okay, let's break down what happened and why it matters, and really understand the story. The situation revolves around a transcript of remarks President Biden made during a call with Latino activists. Now, just to give you some background, these activists were reacting to a statement made by comedian Tony Hinchcliffe at a rally supporting former President Donald Trump. Yeah, it's like Hinchcliffe had some pretty harsh words, calling Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage now. That's an incredibly offensive and divisive comment, and understandably, it sparked outrage. So here's what happened next. During Biden's conversation with the Latino activists, he seemed to respond quite strongly to the comment. According to the original transcript created by the White House stenographers, who are the official record keepers, right? Biden said something along the lines of, "The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable, and it's un-American." That's a pretty strong statement, no doubt. And this statement immediately grabbed people's attention, especially since it seemed like Biden was referring to Trump's supporters directly as garbage. But here's where things get tricky. When the White House press office released the official transcript, there was a change. Instead of supporters, the transcript used supporters, which, as you can see, really changes the meaning. The word now pointed specifically at Hinchcliffe as the supporter of Trump rather than at Trump's supporters collectively. So yeah, this is a pretty big difference because it shifts the focus from a broad critique to a targeted one. Okay, so let's dive a little deeper into why this is such a big deal. Apparently, this alteration wasn't just a small typo or error. An email from the head of the stenographer's office, which the Associated Press managed to get a hold of, described the change as a breach of protocol. You see, the stenographer's office has a very strict process for handling transcripts to make sure that they're accurate and reflect exactly what was said. And in this case, it seems like the press office acted independently to make this edit without following that established process. According to the head stenographer, the press office should have either left the transcript as it was or withheld it altogether if there was any doubt. Aha! You're probably getting why this is causing waves in DC, right? This incident wasn't just about words on a page. There was a bit of political fallout, too. Vice President Kamala Harris, who's often in step with Biden on key messages, actually distanced herself from his remarks this time. She emphasized her stance on respecting voters, even if they support Trump, which came across as a subtle critique of Biden's tone. Harris went on to say, "I strongly disagree with any criticism of people based on who they vote for." That's a pretty bold move, especially given her high-profile role alongside Biden. And it's rare to see such a clear split in messaging from a vice president and president on such a public issue. The timing and sequence of all this were also noteworthy. So right after Biden's comments became public, the Trump campaign jumped on the opportunity to raise funds using his words as ammunition. Trump himself took it a step further by staging a photo op in a garbage truck, obviously intended as a visual dig at Biden's garbage remark. I mean, it's quite the theatrical response, but it's a classic example of turning criticism into a rallying point for supporters. The Trump campaign seized the moment to fuel the narrative of an out-of-touch, divisive Biden presidency. And it's not just politicians from the opposing side who noticed this issue. House Republicans are now contemplating launching an investigation. Key Republican figures, like House Republican Conference Chair Elise Stefanik and House Oversight and Accountability Committee Chair James Comer, have accused the White House of distributing a misleading transcript. They sent a letter to the White House counsel urging that all documents and communications related to this transcript incident be preserved. They're suggesting that the alteration of the transcript might even violate the Presidential Records Act, which requires accurate documentation of a president's words and actions for historical purposes. So why does this alteration matter so much? You might be thinking, it's just a single word. Right, but here's the thing, a transcript isn't just words on a page. It's an official document meant to capture the president's exact words, and those words carry weight. The White House stenographers play a crucial role here, and they take this job very seriously. Their work goes into the National Archives and serves as a record of history. When there's a change, even a seemingly small one, it raises questions about transparency and trust. If the public begins to feel that official documents can be altered for political reasons, that trust is compromised. That's why the head of the stenographer's office raised the alarm, stressing the need for a consistent protocol. What's also interesting here is that this incident isn't just about Biden's message, it's about the media and the role of communication. Biden took to social media to clarify his intentions, saying that he was specifically referring to the hateful rhetoric about Puerto Rico spewed by Trump's supporter. And sure, this helps clarify his stance, but it also highlights the way politicians are increasingly using social media to circumvent traditional media or official channels to explain their positions. So yeah, this is where we see how political communication is evolving. And we also see how the White House handles the delicate balance between staying on message and sticking to what was actually said. It's not uncommon for press offices to make small edits to official transcripts, but there's usually a protocol, and changes are supposed to be minimal and only made if absolutely necessary. So yeah, going around the stenographer's office like this is not typical, it's raising eyebrows for a reason. In response to all of this, White House Senior Deputy Press Secretary Andrew Bates defended the decision, saying that Biden's tweet clarified the intended meaning of his remarks. But he didn't specifically address the fact that the transcript was altered. This response has left some people feeling unsatisfied, and it has opened the door for Republicans to question the administration's transparency. Stefanik and Comer's letter to the White House makes it clear they're concerned about more than just this single incident. They're pushing for accountability, and they've brought up the possibility of examining White House records to see if there's a broader issue with how information is being managed. This incident, for sure, sheds light on the unique role of White House stenographers and the significance of their work. They're essentially tasked with being neutral observers, ensuring that a historical record is maintained. Their job is to capture moments exactly as they happen, even if the words spoken are controversial or politically charged. It's a position that requires accuracy and integrity, and that's why this recent action from the press office is seen as such a big deal. So to wrap this up, yeah, what happened with this transcript is about more than just one word. It's a snapshot of how politics, communication, and media interact today. And yeah, it also reminds us that in today's age, every word counts, especially when it comes from the president. Whether this event will lead to a full-fledged investigation or be a one-time controversy remains to be seen. But one thing is clear: transparency in communication is crucial, and any breach of that trust can have lasting consequences.